Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride. This is Dave Johnson, channeling Man in the Moon. Nikki Haley, if you recall a little while ago, I saw something about Nikki. At first, it appeared as a comment, as Haley's comment. I didn't know what that meant at the time. I just want to point this out because for people who like channeling, want to learn how to channeling, and for those of us who believe that everyone can channel, sometimes spirit communicates in metaphors and symbols like that. It's just a good thing to know. It does not always communicate like that, but sometimes it does. Let's take a look at Nikki and see whether she's gonna, well, how far she's gonna go. All right. So, Nikki, I want y'all to know I just don't like this woman, so I'm trying to get my personal opinion out of the way. Okay, again, you might see this as my personal opinion, but I have no problem with witches. I think they're awesome as long as they don't do dark magic. But I do see Nikki on a broomstick. She's flying like bewitched. Again, nothing against witches. They are awesome people and some of my first mentors. Um, Although there are some who do dark magic, which is not a good thing. Here's Nikki. She's flying around and she has red shoes. It's like, she took those shoes from Dorothy. She got them off her feet after all. And she's flying around and flying around. She gets to a mountaintop with a house on it, and the house has a flagpole in front of it. I'm not even sure what flag it is, but there's a flagpole outside of it. It's funny because it's not clear what nation it is. It looks like a blue and white flag, even. It could be Finland or something. Um, Maybe this has something to do with her being the representative to the United Nations. In any case, it's a pretty big house. It's actually not a cottage. It's getting a little bigger here. Oh, and the house gets bigger and bigger and bigger. There's lots going on in the house, like every window has action in it. And it's like she walks into this house, stuff goes on, and then she comes out smiling. Walks in, comes out, walks in, comes out. And it's like we don't really know what's going on inside the house. And every time she comes out, she's got the, fake politician smile on her face, like, hey, nothing to see here. And let's see what's really going on. There are problems with the house. It's all well and good to try to keep these things hidden, but eventually there's like a big fat hole in the roof. It even looks like somebody, like a fire, or somebody dropped a bomb on it. She's having trouble keeping the smile on and saying, nothing to, there's no smoke, nothing to see here. She's having trouble. And I kind of get from this, it's all well and good to put on a nice face and be nice all the time. But it's not effective, or at least as effective, when you have a pair of nasty opponents who are attacking you continuously. And that's the problem for Nikki. She can only keep that smiling and not really saying anything political face on for some time in order for her to succeed. There has to be, you have to go on the assertive track, and she doesn't seem to know how to do this. And as we've seen, other politicians tried to rise above that, but it didn't really work. What else is Nikki doing? So she actually does this really interesting thing. She leaves her face for us to see. Then she sort of leaves her face and runs off. It's like a mask that she's put out in front of all of us. And then she leaves and is running around like, oh, what do I do? How do I deal with this? Like almost like trying to solve these problems from behind the scenes. And she's trying to say, hey, I'm a woman, so there's going to be so many people that like me because I'm a woman, and they'll vote for me, and I'll be different from Trump or and company because I won't alienate all those women, and especially suburban women who made up Biden's win. I won't alienate them, I promise. But those particular women, and obviously we're talking about people who were moved from Republican to Democrat, they don't seem impressed. They're kind of eye rolling. She's just another politician when we get down to it. If we leave off the, personal attributes, she's just another politician. She doesn't have anything to offer. She doesn't have any ideas. She's no platform. And here's the central problem for Republicans. They got nothing. They have media blitzkriegs, they have false information, they have arguments, they have battling and division, but there is no trajectory to solve any problems. There's no empathy for American or any people. Yeah, she's doing her best and she's fighting, but she's just barely able to maintain control. Now, she does have some success. There is some point where she stops fighting and she holds up like a sword, like, see, I'm done. Interesting, there's a pyramid of her own, and she's popping out of the pyramid. She's getting above that pyramid, which I don't quite know what that means. Pyramids are very sacred images for me, and um, strange to see her in that image. But keep in mind, she's going outside of it. She's popping through the top. She's still she's still there, but it's like people are saying, Nikki, Nikki, Nikki from all directions, and she's just standing there. She takes the sword, puts it in her mouth, rolls up the sleeves. And now she gets down to fighting. All right, let's ask this. Is Nikki going to be the nominee, the Republican nominee? A lot of song and dance. It's like she's looking very seductive. She's trying to seduce people. But it seems flawed, right? So there's some people who aren't going for that seduction. I mean, among other things, I see sexist men and they're just straight up sexist. So they're just not going to vote for a woman. It doesn't matter how Republican she would be, they're just not going to vote for her. And they have the power. They have a lot of power in the Republican Party, and they're not going for it. They're just too sexist to support her, bottom line. They cannot, conservatives, especially male conservatives, can't project their own power onto somebody. It's not like, oh, I am Nikki Haley. They could do that with Trump. They could see themselves in Trump. They could be almost like, hey, he's like a copy of me doing what I want to do. They have difficulty doing that with Nikki Haley. And remember, this is not about values. It's not about any policies. It's about that has nothing to do with the Republican Party. It's about projection. It's about you're feeling like you are in control. And they don't get that from her. She might have the soundest, most Republican policies as far as they're concerned. But I'm not getting that she won't be the nomination. This might be the ultimate vote. But she takes that sword and she sticks it in the ground like it's my turf. So let's ask again in like a different way. Um, will she beat out the others and be the nominee? So I'm getting Trump. He's really thrashing, and there are chains on his wrists. Seem to be obvious, some symbolic either of prison time or even just legal problems. He's thrashing. He's like that elephant in the room, out of control, moving around, just like smashing everything. Trump seems very frustrated. I don't know if he will be the nominee. And then we have Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is not looking very well. He looks just unhealthy. And he kind of turns away. I still see Nikki doing pretty well, actually. Okay, back to DeSantis. Some of his tricks are going to backfire. Some of the things that he did aren't going to work out very well in the past. Most people don't want the governor deciding what people can read, and that might work in some places, but it won't work throughout. There's just too much to answer for. Sending these refugees to other states is, it's illegal, among other things. So there's a lot to answer for. And he's not very good at answering for those things. Trump could intimidate the reporters asking questions. DeSantis is not quite as brazen. He's not as skillful. He isn't quite the showman that Trump is. He thinks that he could manage it, but he's not very good at it. So back to Haley. I gotta say, guys, I mean, she's looking really good. She's now taking the sword and like using it as a toothpick. Like, it's a breeze. But she also sheds a tear. I don't know if this is her failure to get nominated or her failure to get elected. I don't think that we know yet. It's not yet time to know in detail. But I will say, watch her trajectory. It is very important that we notice her trajectory because it is one of the aspects of the Republicans' offering. You have these different levels of attraction and denialism and political force. But the problem really is that the Republican Party has been divided, and it has been divided so much that they're clawing their way back to figure out who they are. This is why Nikki Haley is important to watch. She is one really important aspect, in some senses, the most reasonable aspect of the party. She hasn't actually broken the law, for example. So, and also Mike Pompeo. I don't know why he keeps popping into my mind, but Pompeo is present. He's just, there's something about him. He might come out with something next week. I would not be surprised if he came out with something negative about Nikki Haley, and he's just waiting in the wings to show people what he has on her, because he really considers Nikki to be not just competition, more than that. He's like got a vendetta. I would say Pompeo would have a vendetta against any woman, but specifically Nikki Haley. And I know Pompeo wants to be president. So um, it's also sort of a way of Pompeo toadying up to powerful people and going after the women. That's part of his agenda, and frankly, part of both Trump and DeSantis's agenda is they are uh, anti-women, they're anti-equality for women. So one of the things that we're seeing is a sort of equality, even in the Republican Party, a sort of equality, and it's not like it's going to happen. It's just that it's the potential of having an equally bad candidate that's female as to male is popping up and down, and the role of Republican women is popping up and down. It's sort of an interplay that will be really interesting. But I'm going to say this one, we can, if you're all centrist or left, you can watch these guys picnic on each other. It's going to be ugly. And for the rest of us, it's kind of going to be like just desserts. Like, you reap what you sow. If the only thing that you sow is disunity and treason, then that is what you will get opposed to each other. I do see a division, a three-part division of this party, and that is what we can look forward to from the Republican base. All right, thanks so much for watching.